So hello guys, and welcome to another tier list video. And today, Riders DX and I will be ranking the partners in the Paper Mario series, since Thousand Year Door is coming out tomorrow, and we are both really excited about it. So yeah, and this isn't just the partners from 64 and Thousand Year Door. We're also including the Pixls, as well as Kersti, Huey, and the partners that are in Origami King. But yeah, so
I really appreciate you asking me to do this actually, because just sitting here today and watching all those losers get to play the game today has been very tough.
yeah, this is a good way to pass the time before my Best Buy pickup order is ready. But yeah, so starting off with Paper Mario 64, the first partner is Goombario, and I think, in my opinion, I think he's pretty solid. I think, I feel like he is a bit overhyped in battle, since I do think there's like three partners in particular that I think are kind of outclass him, I would say, since the only way to increase his attack power is either by ranking him up or using charge in battle, but I think he is pretty useful for like when you use him and everything, and I think like he's a good like first partner. I think he's like pretty like solid. He gives you like a good idea of like how the partners work, and I kind of like his design. It's kind of simple, and he's just like a friendly little Goomba character that's a big fan of Mario. But what are your thoughts on Goombario?
I mean, to me, there is no Paper Mario without Goombario. I mean, he honestly is just like the perfect first character, and I think it was such a fun choice to have Mario's first partner to be a Goomba, when typically Goombas are usually the first enemies you encounter in like a Mario game. So I thought that was just already a sign of like how Paper Mario would shake things up within the franchise. And I mean,
Yeah,
I think when I first played the game, I enjoyed just using him all the time just to see what he'd say about like everything.
oh yeah. I would say, ranking him, I would probably put him in either nice or wonderful. I'll let you be the deciding factor for it. Which tier should it go in?
I think nice is good for him.
Yeah.
Just because there's someone coming up that I think deserves the other spot.
Yeah. So, the next partner here is Kooper. And I've always found Kooper to be pretty useful. I like his abilities and everything, and like both in the overworld and battle, and I like when you rank him up when he has the fire shell move. That is pretty fun. And like I think the whole sequence of like getting him is pretty cool as well, like with the fuzzies. I think that's like a cute scene. And like I think he kind of paved the way for like Koops as well in Thousand Year Door, who we'll talk about in a little bit, but I kind of like his design. It's another kind of like, it's kind of similar to Goombario, where it's simple yet effective, and I think he's pretty cool overall. I think he's definitely pretty memorable.
I mean, he's got the handkerchief as a neck, so that's already a huge point for him. But yeah, no, I think like I used him a lot in the original Paper Mario too. I think he was always one of the partners with the better attacks. And especially if you wanted to like attack multiple people at the same time, he was like really good for that. And yeah, I think his whole fuzzy origin was pretty fun too. And yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think he should also go in nice, like right next to Goombario. I think Goombario is like a smidge more memorable just due to his like tattle and everything, and the fact that he's the first partner. But I feel like Kooper is like very close to Goombario in my opinion.
Course. No, yeah, I think that's solid too. I gotta say, like, nothing about him like truly stands out to me, to be honest. But I mean, definitely was a very useful partner in the original game.
Yeah. So moving on, we have Bombette, and I think Bombette's pretty cool as well. I like her story and everything, and like the how you like find her when you fall down into the trap in the Koopa Bros Fortress. And like kind of the Koopa Bros Fortress kind of serves as like a little tutorial for using her abilities as well, which I think is pretty cool. So she has a fun personality, some fun moves in battle. I wouldn't say she's my favorite character to use in battle, because, I do feel like sometimes, like, when you're trying to save FP, some of her moves do kind of cost a lot of FP, but they're still fun to use in, like, the dry desert when you're trying to, like, kind of blast through all those pokies. But I think I do like her overworld ability. I feel like it's useful in a lot of areas, and I think her personality is pretty good as well.
Oh no, for sure. And I like her as a character because she's really sassy, especially I think there was this like one particular scene, I think it was in like Koopa Village, where there were two bombs that were arguing over like taking her affection. I just loved her response to that. So like I don't know why that scene really stands out to me in particular, but I don't think I really used her a lot in battles overall because I mean her main attack is like a headbutt, which is like kind of useless.
Yeah,
in the game.
And I feel like the bomb move, like, it's cool, but I feel like it's not, like, efficient, I would say. Like, if you're trying to save FP, like, during a boss or something, I feel like it would be better to use, like, one of the later partners rather than, Bombette. I feel like she's not as efficient, like, but I still think she's, like, a fun character and everything.
Of course. What are you thinking for her?
I'm thinking, I know we already put 2 in nice, but I'm thinking we should also put Bombette in nice as well. Because I think the 64 partners kind of, aside from a few that we'll talk about, kind of balance out, I would say.
Yeah, I think like I think nice is perfectly fine. I probably would have gone with okay, but I mean all the Paper Mario partners are pretty good, so that is a good point.
Yeah, moving on, I think Parakarry is pretty cool as well, and I like his whole gimmick that you have, like, with different letters, since you, like, basically use him to kind of give letters to different, like, characters and everything, and also, like, his overworld ability is fun as well, and I like how much he shows up in the Paper Mario series. I know he's just in the first 2 games. Actually, he does get a reference in Sticker Star, so technically 3 games, but I like how he appears at the beginning of Thousand Year Door as well, and I kind of like how he serves as, like, the mail carrier for the Mushroom Kingdom. I think that's really cool, and he is definitely one of the most memorable designs in the game, I would say. Like, he's probably the most easily recognizable character on the box art of the game, since he's, like, holding Mario and everything. So, I think he's pretty cool. This may be a bit of a controversial opinion, but I actually am not a huge fan of him in battle, because I feel like some of his moves don't do as much, like, damage as it kind of seems, I would say. I feel like some of the later partners are a bit more efficient, I would say. So I feel like he's kind of in a similar boat to Bombette for me, but I would say he's super memorable in terms of a character, but a little less in terms of, like, battle, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. I think like in battle, he's one of the ones I use the least as well. I think the only attack I really liked using with him was the one that took like 5 FP or something.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like I actually like really enjoyed the Mayo side quest with him. I really enjoyed actually just going to different worlds with him, you know, out of order and just delivering letters. I don't know why. It's so ordinary, like mundane. There's nothing really to it, but it was kind of fun just going around everywhere and seeing like how the community of Paper Mario is connected together. I mean, those fishermen, I'm sure they're having a great time fishing wherever they are, and I think that was really fun just to kind of learn about the NPCs a little bit more and seeing how they're all connected. And yeah, I really enjoyed the overworld of Paper Mario overall, and he was just a really good excuse to explore it.
Yeah, I would say even though he was kind of not as useful in battle, I would say I would also say he's a nice, maybe just because of his personality, I would say between Goombario and Kooper, I would say, just for like his personality alone, but because I feel like that definitely is like kind of helps bring him up as a character rather than like his kind of a bit lackluster uses in battle. But yeah, so moving on, we have Lady Bo.
My spirit animal. I'm just gonna say that.
This is definitely one of my favorite characters in the series, since she has a great personality overall. I think it's funny, like, how in Chapter 3, like, she, like, locks up the Star Spirit and kind of forces you to help her, take down Tabababa. I think that's pretty funny. Her moves in battle are amazing. Like, with the slap that she does, I think that's, like, it's just, that's really useful. And also, the out of sight move is also extremely useful, since, like, not only does it hide you from the enemy's attack, you can actually attack after it, which is something that you can't even do with Vivian. So, like, it's really, it's almost kind of like a mixture of, like, kind of with looking at Thousand Year Door partners, Vivian's Veil and Goombella's Rally Wink. So it's like, her move basically allows you to attack again, so I think that's really cool, and I would definitely say she's, like, probably the best partner in the game, I would say, like, easily.
Yeah, I think like ability-wise, she is extremely useful. I really do enjoy using her, but also like I love her personality so much. I mean, she really
Yeah,
represents like so many of my favorite characters growing up and such. You know, like Mean Girls and like a lot of those Disney Channel shows in particular. Like
yeah,
she's a bully, and I love her for that. And
yeah,
you know, trapping the Star Spirit. You know, Star Spirits are being regarded as like these like huge like outwardly like figures in the game that are super powerful that give Bowser like almost near invincibility, and she was able to just trap one like that because she wanted to. I mean, we gotta stand. She is flawless. She's a queen. I love
yeah.
her.
Definitely going in stylish.
She is extremely stylish too. That
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect for that tier.
Oh
But
my god! And the upgrade to when she starts using a fan to like slap people instead of her like fin, like that is absolutely incredible.
yeah. And like chapter 3, like the chapter that you get her in, that's one of my favorite chapters in the game too. That's pretty fun overall. But moving on, another partner that I really like, because of her use in battle, Watt. I think Watt is pretty cool. Like, I mean, she's pretty cute, like with her design and everything, like a baby, Spark, or a baby, forgot, I'm trying to think of the enemy name. Little Sparky, that's what it is. Little Sparky from Super Mario World. So I think, it's cool that she's one of those enemies and everything, and I think, like, in battle, like, she's extremely useful, since her move, her main attack pierces defense, meaning it's really good on, like, bosses, like, the final battle and everything. I exclusively used Watt for that. And also the move where she upgrades her attack power for a short period of time, I think that's also pretty useful as well. And yeah, and like there's even like a lot of instances in the game where you're going into like a dark room, like inside of the whale, and you have to like pull her out in order. And then there's also the part in like Bowser's Castle as well, where that like requires Watt to be used in battle. So I think she's like really useful in a lot of areas, like especially in battle. And the fact that she like pierces defense and everything is really cool.
I know she's extremely OP, so I definitely used her a ton, like in battles. And you know, her basic attack is pretty good. And she's got some really good like power ups as well. And yeah, I think it was really fun, like using her a lot in particular to see if you could find like any hidden items in the overworld. I think Paper Mario, one thing that's so great about this franchise is the fact that it encourages so much like exploration, and you know,
Yeah.
why is definitely because that really helps encourage it. Um, I would say personality wise, I think this is just like a me thing, but I don't tend to like babies. It's just like
Yeah.
there's just something about like baby characters that like just kind of rub me off the wrong way. But Watt was pretty neutral to me. You know, I didn't
Yeah.
like hate her or love her at all personality wise, but yeah, definitely a lot of use in battle for sure.
I would say I would probably put her at Wonderful, because I think it kind of balances out, um, because since she is, like, so OP and everything, I think, she's definitely, like, she was definitely one of my go-to partners when playing 64, so, yeah. So, next up we have Sushie, and I think she was pretty useful as well. I like her personality, like how she cares for, like, the baby Yoshis in the, Lava Lava Island. I think that's pretty cool, and I think her abilities in battle are great. Like, with the
Yes.
fact that she's really useful in, like, the the volcano area for taking out like the fire enemies, and her attacks do a lot of damage as well. Like even some of her like regular moves, I feel like Tidal Wave is just crazy. I would say that is like one of the most powerful moves in the game. And Squirt is also pretty good too. Like when you first get her and go into like the volcano, that is also really good as well. And Belly Flop is also like pretty good for a base move too. And then you could also like boost Mario's defense. So I think she's also like up there with Bo and Watt. It's one of the like probably one of the most like powerful characters in the game. So I definitely think she's like should be up like towards the top of the 64 partners.
No, I totally agree with that. She truly is like the mom of the game, and you know, it's really nice to have a character like that in like any game, in my opinion. Just having that like figure that sort of like looks after everyone and such, and she personality wise is someone I really enjoyed. But also like she is really good in battle too, and that tidal wave move, I use that a lot like in the end of the game because it takes off like so many different enemies at the
Yeah.
same time. It's also like super powerful, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It does cause a lot of FP, but I do think it's worthwhile compared to like other characters like most powerful moves. So
Yeah.
yeah, Sushie is great, and she also has an amazing name.
Yeah, I had actually put her in stylish, like just because she's like so like such a strong character between her personality and like her moves and everything. I think it puts her like a smidge above Watt as a character, but not as good as Lady Bo. She's on the top for 64, but I think she's definitely like one of the best partners in the game. But moving on, we have the final partner, Lakilester, or Spike, or Michael, or whatever he wants to be called. I thought that was cute that he had the little thing where he wanted to change his name and everything, and then he kind of like basically decides that he doesn't want to work for Huff and Puff anymore, and kind of like does the right thing and joins Mario and helps him get over to destroy the Puff Puff machine. So I think his little story arc, even though it's small, I think was kind of memorable around the end of chapter 6 and everything. And in battle, he's not the best, but I think he does have a few useful things towards the end of the game, like with his Spiny Surge thing. I think that could be pretty useful for like the Huff and Puff boss fight, as well as like areas where there's like a bunch of enemies and everything. I think that could be useful sometimes. And Cloud9, while that's kind of like a thing that reduces the chances of you getting attacked, I think it can be pretty useful in some instances, especially if it's like stacked with like some of those lucky badges. So I think Lakilester, even though he's not the most useful in battle, I think like he definitely, like towards the end of the game, I feel like he is like somewhat useful in some areas, and I think his personality is kind of memorable compared to some of the other characters. But yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, his personality sure is memorable, right? But he gives me a little bit too much, how do I say this? Bro energy. Like, it's just something that's sort of like, it just sort of comes off as a little bit cringy to me.
Yeah.
He's got the shades on. He's got like the protected girlfriend and stuff.
I mean, he wants to change.
A walking.
And he wants to change his
stereotype.
He wants to change his name to Spike. It's just like,
it's just like, personality-wise, maybe on the lower tier for me personally. But I will say that he's not really useful for me in battle either. But I do love traveling the overworld with him. He makes Mario faster, and it's a lot of fun like traveling across like longer areas with him. And so I think that's kind of like my favorite thing about him is just his overworld effect. But otherwise, like you know, it's cool having that species like as a partner, because I always thought those were some of the more interesting enemies in Mario. Maybe you could just use a personality transplant.
Yeah, I think he still goes in nice, because I don't think there's any 64 partner that really goes below that.
Nah, yeah,
I'll put him like
cool.
Yeah, I think I'll put him like probably tied with Bombette, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So moving on, the game that has the game that everyone has been talking about lately, Thousand Year Door. And there are some ones that I really, really love here. But starting off, we already have one that I really like, Goombella.
You have a queen right
Yeah, I like her smart and sassy personality. I can kind of relate to her a little bit since she's a college student, and I'm also a college student right now. And I think it's cool that I really like. I think I like Goombario's tattles, but I think Goombella's are like even more memorable. Like with how if she kind of has like even more personality in her like area tattles and also like enemy tattles. So and then she's also really good in battle too. Like with multi-bonk and everything. That is like extremely useful, especially since this game, unlike 64, it has Mega Rush P. So you could do massive damage to enemies and bosses, like if you bring the enemies down to like 1 HP. So Goombella is really fun to use, and I would definitely say she's one of the best partners in the game.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, like, I think she is pretty much just Goombario, but with a better personality. You know, nothing against him, of course, but she basically just has like Goombario's abilities, but also Bombette's personality, and it's just like cranked up a bit.
Yeah.
So I think like my favorite thing with her was like just seeing what she would say about all the NPCs in the game. There was this like, it's like the French guy, the Afro.
Oh, Dupree. Yeah, she's like, she thinks that he's stalking her. And
it's like her like opinion on him is like one of the funniest things in the game.
Oh yeah.
And that's why like I think she definitely has an edge over Goombario, at least because you know her like information comes with like some bias from her personality, and it just makes her seem like a much more fuller character. So no, she's definitely one of my favorite characters in the whole series.
Oh yeah, I definitely put her in stylish. I would say probably a little above Sushie, just because she's really memorable. But yeah, moving on to Koops, another partner that I love. I mean, so many partners that I love the whole cast of, even though there are some that I love less, a little less than others. But Koops, I think is just great overall. His story is very memorable and everything, with like him wanting to avenge his father and take down Hooktail, but is like kind of worried about it and is kind of shy at first, but Mario gives him the courage to go to the Hooktail Castle, and his moves are also really fun as well. Like he's basically like an upgraded version of Kooper, like with the things that he does, and he also has like some other really like useful moves like Shell Shield and different things like that. And I think he's definitely like really useful in battle. I've used him in quite a lot of instances. And like the fact that his overworld ability is also like an upgraded version of Kooper is also pretty nice as well,
for sure.
Since you could actually hold the shell in place rather than just like using it on its own. And just like between his personality and his like moves, I think he's just a great partner overall.
No, I really like him as well. And yeah, he basically is just a better version of Koopa in terms of like abilities and such. But also I think he's just a super adorable character. I mean, he's probably one of the most like anxious characters I've ever seen in the Mario series, but I think it makes him really endearing. And you know, I think this is something to be said about all the Thousand Year Door characters, but especially him, is that they all definitely have like very well thought out arcs, and his arc of like wanting to overcome his fears to avenge his father is one that I find to be, you know, really heartfelt and touching. So no, I really enjoy his inclusion in the game.
Yeah, I think I'd put him in Wonderful, like a little above Watt, I would say, just because of how memorable his personality is. But moving on, we're kind of looking at kind of a divisive character here. So we have Flurrie. I used to hate Flurrie. Cause I did not know how to use her moves in battle. I thought she was like useless, but once I kind of learned how to use like Flip Block in some of her like better moves, and like Gale Force, which is like really funny, I think she's a much better character than people make her out to be. Like I actually kind of like her personality. Not my favorite, but I think like I think she's a pretty solid partner, I would say, in my opinion. I can understand why people wouldn't like her, but I think she's pretty solid, I would say.
No, I think in terms of like Val and abilities, like I think she's probably not like in the top in terms of like who I use the most in battles, but she definitely does have some good like abilities, like the one where she leaps up into the air and like slams on enemies. I just love watching her do that. But personality wise, I think just because it like appeals to my taste in particular, she reminds me of like an old pop star. So she reminds me of like
Yeah.
she has a very similar personality to like a lot of like great pop stars like Cher and Mariah Carey and like Madonna, just like a very diva-ish like personality. But she's a little bit more endearing, like how she cares about like that community that she grows up with um in that town is like really really. What are those guys again? Why can't I remember? In the Bogley Woods.
Oh, the Punies.
Punies. Oh my gosh. But like how much she cares about them is really endearing and makes kind of gives them some heart. And so I don't know. I think she's an entertaining character. Maybe not like in the top half of my favorites, but still really solid.
Yeah, I might put her in nice, like between Kooper and Bombette. I would say that's like a pretty solid spot for her. But moving on, we have Yoshi, and I love Yoshi. I think he's really cute. I like his personality is great, like how he's just kind of like energetic and like confident and everything since he was born in the Glitz Pit. His whole like sequence, like with the fact that he was originally get like an egg that was gonna be cooked by Mr. Hoggle for like the Southern Fried Egg Dog of Happiness, but you end up saving him and you actually name him. You could technically customize the color depending on how long it takes for the egg to hatch. I think that's really cool how he's like really customizable like that, and he calls Mario Gonzalez. I think that's really cute, and he's definitely really memorable. I like his moves as well, like with the one, he's like a couple moves that are like really useful. I know Gulp is like required to get through one of the bosses, and yeah, I just think he's like a great character overall, and like I'm excited that name my Yoshi again in the remake and everything.
You know, I really enjoyed him in the game, especially because I think it's just fun being able to name your own partner and stuff like that. If they ever bring back partners in this way in like a future Paper Mario game, I hope they have another partner that you can do kind of something similar with, where you're able to like customize your color and like name them as you see it fit, and who knows what else they could do after that. But no, he was definitely a real joy to have in this game. I definitely have to come up with some pretty kooky names for him myself, and I think like anytime you can customize your experience like that is a really great thing, especially for like an RPG in particular.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think in battle he's really useful as well.
Oh yeah, especially with this ground pound move. It's kind of similar to like Goombella's multi-bonk, since you can kind of like upgrade it quite a lot to where like with badges to where it can do a ton of damage. So it's pretty fun. So honestly, I would put him in stylish. Maybe not like at the top of stylish, but I think he's definitely like memorable enough to go in that tier. But moving on, we have my absolute favorite partner, my favorite video game character of all time, tied with Kirby.
Right, then.
Vivian. Vivian is just great in general. Like her story is amazing. Like the fact that like she initially like has to deal with her sisters, especially Beldum, who's like really abusive to her, and you see that in chapter 2 and chapter 4, but she finally had enough of her sister and decides to leave her and join Mario, and it's just a really memorable story, and she's just a really great character in general. And I really like the fact that in the remake that she's actually gonna be like transgender and everything. I think that's really cool, since I have a lot of friends that can relate with that, like especially like Fawful the Great and different things like that. So I think that's really cool that Vivian just has like so much to a character, and they're kind of even expanding upon that in the remake. And she's just like, her design is amazing. It's just one of the most like unique designs in like the Paper Mario series, I would say. But she fits in with the Mario world so well. And in battle, I think she's pretty fun to use as well. I wouldn't say she's like the best character to use in battle, but she's still really fun and has like a lot of great moves. Like I like the fact that she can like inflict a fire status effect on enemies. That is really useful in a lot of areas. But Vivian is just like an excellent partner. Like, definitely, like, my favorite Paper Mario character, and just, like, one of my favorite video game characters of all time.
I definitely totally agree with that. She's definitely the best partner in this game, and definitely arguably the best partner in the entire series as well. I kind of go back and forth between her and Lady Bo, to be honest, because I do enjoy Lady Bo's personality more, but I do think Vivian is a much more significant character, especially given like the transgender identity to her. I think it's fantastic that the remake is going to fully acknowledge that. I think that's going to make a lot of like fans really happy, especially those that really identify with her. So I think like for all intents and purposes, she really is like probably the most important like character in the Paper Mario series.
Yeah.
Just cultural standpoint. But in terms of like the game and such, I think it was really beneficial to have her get introduced like earlier in the game until like before she would become a partner, because you can more effectively see her growth from like the second chapter all the way to when she finally decides to switch to Mario's side. I think that makes her like a really effective and memorable character in particular. And again, the Thousand Year Door was just super good at giving all these characters like their own really well thought out and developed like character arcs that I don't think any other game in the series especially can really match up to. So, I mean, Vivian she's fantastic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Said it all.
I'll definitely put her in stylish, the top of stylish. Definitely my favorite. But moving on, we have another partner that I really like. Definitely another one of my favorite characters in the Paper Mario series. We have Admiral Bobbery. Admiral Bobbery has another really touching story since, like, his wife Scarlet passed away, and that's, like, really sad, like, because he was depressed about that and didn't want to sail again, because, like, she died while he was out at sea, and he initially thought that it was his fault, but when he gets the letter, like, she wanted him to go, like, sailing more, and that it wasn't his fault and everything. So it's really a touching story to see, and it's also like on Kill Hulk Key, you have to bring him his favorite drink as well. Like, considering the fact that like it's like considering the fact like that in the original version it was actually meant to be wine rather than soda with Chocola Cola. It's just like it kind of makes it like pretty memorable overall. Just like Admiral Bobbery is just a great character in general. Like, his personality is amazing, and his design is incredible too. Like, I love the old sailor look, but like on a bob-omb. It's just like really memorable. And I like how he has like a ship wheel instead of like the just a wind-up key on the back. I think it's just a really memorable design. And he's definitely up there as one of my favorites. And he's pretty fun in battle as well. Like, I think he can have, like, even though his moves cost a lot of, like, FP, he could still be, like, pretty fun. I like how his, like, overworld use works and everything. But he's just, like, really memorable.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I never really thought about him and Bombette in side-by-side comparison. But I'm actually kind of surprised at how much more I used him compared to Bombette, to be honest. And I think he is definitely like a more powerful and useful character to use in Thousand Year Door, but also like it's his design, you know.
Yeah.
He has so much more like put into his design than Bombette does. You know, the sailor's hat, the wheel, and such. And yeah, his storyline is super memorable. It almost sounds like it was something straight out of a soap opera, which is not supposed to be a bad thing. Like, it actually feels like it kind of tethers the line of like the really dramatic, like I think like height of this game. But it still kind of fits in well with the entire like storyline of the game, and it's really touching, really sweet, and he is super memorable, and I really enjoyed him as a character in the game as well. And he's also got some funny moments as well, I gotta say. You know, like the fact he's kind of dramatic, you know, thinking that lying there like, oh, just one last wish for me as I die here, my dying breath is some Chocola Cola.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty like in line with like how dramatic his storyline actually is, but I think that he's a very well-rounded character.
Yeah, I think he definitely goes in stylish as well. I might put him like kind of tied with Goombella, I would say. I think that's pretty good. Those could be interchangeable, like Goombella and Bobbery, I would say, because they're both like extremely memorable. But moving on, we have the final like secret partner in the game, Miss Mowz. And honestly, she's not very good in battle. Like, I would say she's probably the worst one to use in battle, since I, like, really, like, never used her that much. Like, I mean, her one move pierces defense, but it's, like, not very powerful. You can steal, like, badges and items, but you could only do that in, like, very specific instances. So, she's not really useful. I mean, she's a fun character, like, personality-wise, but I never really used her that much.
No, yeah, I didn't really use her either. I would say I definitely try to use her a little bit more in like my latest playthrough because I wanted to find more star pieces, and that's something that she is good for, is like finding like more of those collectibles. Although like you have to constantly like stop and like use her ability to kind of sniff out if there's anything there. So it does kind of like break the flow of the gameplay a little bit. But I mean, personality wise though, she is essentially just Catwoman. And
Yeah,
Catwoman's one of my favorite characters in Batman. So I do enjoy her personality wise. She's a really fun presence to have within the party, especially since so many of the characters in the party have these like really like dramatic and like tragic like backstories. She's one of the characters that kind of helps like lighten things up a little bit. Um, she is optional though, so she just, you know, by her very nature doesn't have like a huge like arc or backstory to her. But
yeah,
I mean, I enjoy her. Like, you know, every game needs to have its like B-list character, and I guess she just
yeah.
happens to be the one in a cast of superstars.
Yeah, I think I might want to put her, even though she has a fun personality, I honestly want to put her in okay, just due to how she's not really that useful, and you have to go out of your way to unlock her. So
Yeah.
I think it kind like just due to the fact that like all the other partners are so good, I think she's a
Yeah.
little disappointing, like with how she works in battle. Like I think like with her character, like it is a little disappointing how she's like not very useful that much. So I think she kind of goes in okay, I would say. Um, but yeah. So moving on with Super Paper Mario. Okay, we have a lot of wacky choices here. We're not going to spend too long on each of these because they really don't have that much of a personality, but some of them can be useful. So, but the first character here is probably going to be the only one that we really have that much to talk about, and that is Tippi. Tippi is an excellent character, I would say. Like her story with like Count Bleck and everything is really memorable, I would say. And she definitely has one of the most like memorable like stories of like Paper Mario characters and everything. So I think like I just think she's like a great character in general. So I like she's definitely one of the best in Super Paper Mario, I would say.
So I think she is the best in Super Paper Mario just because like I mean look at the other partners in this list. But anyway, she also like has like a very in-depth storyline just like you said. And I definitely like really enjoy the storyline, you know, from like an outsider's perspective, you know, just enjoying like the overall arc of it. I think personality wise, I kind of wish she had a little more to her, you know?
Yeah.
I think maybe part of that is because like she technically did lose her memory, so maybe she just doesn't have much of a personality, you know, due to that. But I didn't really particularly find her to be like a very entertaining character. But her connection
Yeah.
to Count Bleck in the overall storyline is her biggest supporting detail to her.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think she's a very necessary character in the game is
Yeah.
what I'd say.
I would say probably because of like how memorable she is and like how important and integral she is to the story. I'd honestly like to put her in Wonderful just because like
All right.
I do think she like as a character, like I think she is like really important in everything. Maybe not like at the top of Wonderful, but I do think she's definitely like up there and everything. But yeah. But we'll kind of go through the pixels here. Thorough, I would say
I'm kind of there are certain pixels that really get on my nerves, and Thorough is one of them. And the reason he does is because, you know, something I don't really love about a lot of pixels is that a lot of them like strip Mario of things he could do in previous games, and assign them to a pixel instead. And well, actually, was he able to draw things in the previous game?
uh
I actually don't
I
remember.
don't
Um,
think.
okay, so maybe not
Actually, you know
Thorough,
what?
but
I think okay. I think Thoreau one of his moves is kind of similar to Koops and Kooper a little bit. Like, you can kind of, like, throw it in a way kind of, like,
Oh,
similar to that. So,
I know which one I'm thinking about now. We'll get to him. Don't worry. But it wasn't thorough. But I mean, I don't remember much about thorough.
yeah,
So
I think
I
he's,
just know he's the first one.
yeah, I think he's okay, I would say. Boomer? I think Boomer is pretty funny. Like, in the bomb move is kind of similar to, like, Bombette and Bobbery. Actually, more like Bobbery, since it stays in place, since you can hold Bobbery in place. And I think the name is funny, like, he's Boomer. I think, like, his lines of dialogue are kind of funny as well. So, I guess I'll be nice, and I'll put him in nice. Um,
Oh, you're nicer than me. That's for
yeah.
sure.
Slim, I don't really remember much about Slim, but I know it's basically just the paper mode from, Thousand Year Door. It, like, where you can kind of go to the side. And I really do not remember that much about Slim. And I guess his design is kind of funny. He's like a triangle. Um,
He looks cool, I guess.
yeah,
But again, this is just like this is one of the things I didn't love about Super Paper Mario is that a lot of these moves that Mario was able to do with like a press of a button was now relegated to like having to go to the menu and like choose between all the pixels and choose the one you want and like go to it. I know that's because of the Wii remote. I mean, it doesn't have as many buttons, so it's not as convenient. But still, it's not something I particularly enjoy about the game. But I mean, Slim does he does have a cool
yeah,
design, and that's what I'll say.
yeah. I'll put him in okay. So moving on, we have Thudley. I think that's like, yeah, this is the one that allows you the ground pound. Yet another thing that you would just like you were saying, like one move that you could just do in 64,000 Year Door with just the press of a button linked to another pixel. I just like, in
Yeah.
his designs, like he's just a weight with eyes and like a little mouth. Like literally just like a trapezoid. Like he's just like his design is really like it's just
Yeah.
super simple.
So like anything that's like that, like that's a move that Mario could have done in the past, but now is relegated to like going to the pause menu, selecting the pixel, and like using it that way is someone I'm not gonna like in general. And
Yeah.
whether or not that's fair to the actual character is not something I'm concerned with.
You know what? I think I'll put Slim down because like into danger because like even though his design is cool, like I think honestly I don't even remember using his ability that much. Like I think it, and I'll put Thudley there too because I really like it was used very sparingly. Like I think that's just
Yeah.
like yeah. But moving on, we have Kerry, and honestly, I would say this is probably the best pixel in the game. I would say.
Yes, it is.
Honestly, you know what? Just because I'm good, I since I love Super Paper Mario, and I just want to put one in Wonderful aside from Tippi. I want to put Kerry in Wonderful because like Kerry's design is like actually pretty cool. I actually like how she like folds into like a box like that. I think that's pretty cool. And she's also like really useful and like since Super Paper Mario has like some big levels and empty areas, so I think she's like really useful for like getting around. So that's like the one pixel aside from Tippi that'll be pretty nice to input in Wonderful. Since I think like most could agree that she's like definitely one of the best in the game. But
I
moving
think
on,
she definitely is. She definitely is my favorite of
yeah.
the ones that we have here, but that's not saying much.
Yeah. But moving on, we have Leap, and another one that barely has actually even less use. Like there's like barely any uses you'll get out of Leap, but kind of similar to like Flurrie since you like uncover things but without like the personality in things in battle. So I'm just gonna honestly put in Peril because they're like it's
Yeah.
Leap is like barely used at all. And
I totally forgot about him, so yeah, there you go.
yeah, and then we have Kudge, which uses the
This
hammer.
one really pisses me off. This one really pisses me off. I mean, why can't Mario use a hammer like by himself?
Yeah.
Now he needs a full like pixel to pull out a hammer. Like,
You know, okay,
it's-
there is one thing that I like about Kudge, and it's the fact that he screams out any word that you type in that one section. I think that's pretty funny. So I'll put him in danger, not quite like peril. So, yeah, and then Dottie, one that
I don't like this one.
okay,
I don't know why.
I like the design.
I think it was like okay, so you know how like I have a lot of like flack with like a bunch of these that just take things that Mario could have done in the previous game and just relegate them to like the pixel. This is one thing Mario couldn't do in like a previous
Yeah.
game. And I actually found it kind of fun to platform with Mario when he was at this size for some reason.
Yeah. You know what? I'll put this one in nice too. I like the design as well. I think it's pretty funny how Mario can get like really small like that. So yeah. But moving on, we have Gary, and I didn't really, I don't remember like his personality very much, but I think his design looks cool and everything. And he also actually, you know what? He's his ability is kind of like somewhat similar to the Super Guard, which I actually think is pretty cool. I mean, the Super Guard is like, I know that is like an ability that is in Thousand Year Door and everything, like that you already have automatically, but it is like a pretty OP ability, and Barry handles it quite differently. So honestly, I think I actually might put Barry in nice, because I think that is a cool ability. Like in Super Paper Mario.
I had no idea.
Like
I had no idea he was in the game.
Like it's like a counter, basically. It's kind of like you can counter the enemy's attack. I think that's actually pretty cool. Maybe a little above Dottie, because like I think that ability is pretty useful, I would say.
All right.
And then we have the shell, and this one I guess kind of useful as well. Another ability that you didn't have already, since it like basically makes you like run faster and everything. You know, that kind of is basically it's kind of redundant, like with carry and everything. So I might put him in.
This one's optional, right?
Yeah, I might put him in okay, I would say, because like I think he is kind of redundant. Piccolo, oh my gosh, like Piccolo only has like a very, very obscure use, and she basically like can cure the status effects that you get from Kerstias, which are like a single enemy type, and that is just like why what is even the point? Like honestly, I'll put her in the underwear, like the first partner to go in there, because she literally has like just barely any use. Like that is just like.
I almost wonder if like a bunch of these pixels would have been better off just as like NPCs in the game. You know, you just walk up to them and talk to them, and they give you a quest or something. I almost feel like that would have been a better role. For some of these.
Yeah.
Because these are like pretty cool designs actually. Like I don't hate the designs of these characters. It's just that I don't know. By default I don't love the whole pixel system. So, you know, unfortunately, that does kind of factor into my opinion on pretty much all these characters.
Yeah, and next up we have Tiptron, which is literally just Tippi, but like a robotic version of her. So, yeah.
You know, like, you can put her where you want, but it's like, a part of me wants me to put her at the Tippi top because Francis created her, and Francis is one of my favorite characters of all time. But,
you know what? I'll put her in, okay, I would say, like, just due to that, but, like, I don't know, like, she's basically the same as, Tippi, but that is cool, like, since, like, she was created by Francis and everything, that's kind of, since Francis is a really funny character, so I think,
it's
like...
too bad Francis wasn't, like, somehow a partner in the game, because he would honestly be stylish for me.
Yeah.
He is, but you know what? I'll settle for Tiptron. I'll settle for Tiptron.
Yeah.
So.
But moving on, we have... No.
I don't know why she, like, really, like, annoyed me in the game. So, this is coming from someone that actually doesn't hate Sticker Star. You know, actually, like,
We need...
find something.
We need another row for her. She doesn't even belong in the underwear. Like she deserves her whole other row.
Everything about her is like every time I talk to her, for some reason she really aggravated me. This really like simulated like my petty side, I guess. But was it when I would get to the ends of the bosses where I'd want to like walk around and explore things? She'd be like, "What do you think you're doing? Go grab that sticker." I'm like, "Shut up! Let me walk around and do whatever I want." And she has absolutely no backstory, and she's just annoying. She's just an annoying,
Yeah.
B word. And I mean, I guess she sparkles, so I guess that's one thing.
Yeah, and before we get to the next one, I'm looking and seeing that Wonderful is a bit empty here. So I'm thinking Goombario I might want to promote him up to Wonderful, just kind of like looking back here. Since he is like really memorable. So
Yeah, I'll be honest, like he's fine where he is, but I did think it was kind of, I personally would not put him like below Carry. So I think he does deserve to be in Wonderful.
yeah. I'm fine with those other partners though, because they kind of balance out. But yeah, Goombario, I think he definitely deserves a little more here. But moving on, we have Huey, and Huey is a great character in general. I don't really like Color Splash, but I do think Huey is a highlight of that game since he has a funny personality. Like he's definitely pretty well written, from like what I've played of Color Splash, and I really like him. I think he's a good character.
So I'm actually like, I really like Color Splash, and Huey is definitely one of the reasons for that. I think he's just like, he doesn't have a lot to him. He doesn't have this really like compared to like the 1,000-Year Door partners, for instance, his backstory is really nothing that special, but he has like a very nice moldable personality, and he's a fun person to have to tag along with you. And without spoiling the game, the way that he like what he does at the end of the game, I thought was like, I mean, it's not the first time they've ever had something like that happen to like a Paper Mario character, but I don't know, the way that he does it and how it like wraps up his character arc, I thought was really special. So I really enjoy Hugh as a character, and I don't know, the fact that they made a paint can an appealing character to me is something that I'm very impressed by.
Yeah, I would definitely say he belongs like near the top of Wonderful, I would say, in my opinion. I wouldn't quite put him in stylish because he doesn't have like the oomph that the 1,000-Year, like that all of the 1,000-Year Door partners have, but I would say he's definitely like, I would say like right below Koops. I would say I think he definitely belongs in Wonderful. But moving on, another great character,
Queen.
Yeah,
Absolute queen.
Olivia is great. I think she's a great character overall. Since I liked Origami King, I think she's definitely a memorable part of that, like with her whole story with Ollie and everything. I thought that was pretty memorable. The fact that Ollie actually made her was pretty interesting. But yeah, it's like it's kind of confusing though. Like she's Ollie's brother, but Ollie made her. Like, wouldn't that technically make her Ollie's daughter? But like they're somehow siblings. I just think that's
sort of weird. But I mean, like, her and Ollie as like siblings makes a lot more sense in terms of their dynamic and such.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be really weird if like Ollie was her father. I think,
yeah.
I don't know. It just wouldn't. Just based off like how the characters are designed and stuff, it makes more sense.
Oh
to me
yeah.
that they are siblings. But I mean, Olivia. I mean, actually, I'm such a crybaby. But like at the end of the game, like when without like saying anything, like her story actually kind of brought me to tears a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It was written like really well in my opinion, and Origami King has one of the best storylines of the game in the series, and I know that's a hot take, but I think Olivia is probably the main reason for that. I think her personality is so bubbly and cute, and it would come off as annoying if it didn't have like a reason for it, but her very like intense like optimism like really starts to like fall apart like near the end of the game when like her fears like come to the forefront. And I think she's just such a wonderfully written character, and she also has such a great design to her, and I don't know, Origami King would not be Origami King without her. So she's definitely one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, honestly, I'd put her maybe, like... I don't like her as much as Huey. I think I'll put her basically tied. Like, since you really like Olivia and everything, and I think, they're both, like, great characters and everything, so I think she definitely belongs in Wonderful, in my opinion. But, yeah, moving on, we have Bobby. Bobby is a great character. Honestly,
He is
I would say he's definitely one of my, like, I actually prefer him to Olivia a little bit, and just because his story is like extremely memorable. I know he's just like a generic Bob-omb and everything, and I know like a lot of people are like, oh, he's like not very interesting. They just like wrote a story because they had to, but no, like him being a generic regular Bob-omb is part of what makes him special. Like, because he's like he kind of like even though he's just like a regular Bob-omb, he like it kind of goes to show that he's like still like could be like a really memorable character and like really like in his stories just like really powerful and emotional and everything, since he like sacrifices himself to like save Olivia and everything. I know there's the whole like controversy like with Mario with how is Bobbery and Bombette able to blow up and they're able to be fine, but Bobby can't. But I think there's probably some reasoning behind it, like the fact that like he was using a different fuse, and he also like he's a regular Bob-omb rather than like a special Bob-omb like Bobbery and Bombette. He was like one of Bowser's Bob-ombs, so I think those Bob-ombs blow up and don't come back, while the ones that are kind of like different, like Bombette and Bobbery, I feel like they can blow up without worrying about that.
I mean, are we really going to argue about like things like this in Mario lore? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like, it's just something that I this is gonna sound very cynical, but I don't think they give a damn.
Yeah,
It's like,
honestly, that's
they-
that's probably the case. They're probably just like, oh, like they're really just thinking about like the story here, like with how memorable it will be, like to have like a Bob-omb sacrificing himself, and I think that's really all that matters in this case. Like I know there's like a little bit of discourse surrounding that, but like honestly, like I think he's just a great character in general.
He is another part of the story I really enjoyed, and he is also another part that almost brought me to tears. I mean, it was like I never thought about it until you just said it, but it's like the fact that he is just a regular Bob-omb actually makes him really special.
Yeah.
It kind of like shows you that like even though these characters don't have unique designs and such, they can all still have their own unique like personalities and storylines that are really special, and just kind of goes to show like it just makes the world that much more enriching, I guess. I mean, I would have much rather he had some sort of like unique design because I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
But what you just said about him looking normal but having such an intense storyline is something that actually makes him really special. So I agree with that.
Yeah. I'm thinking like I want to put him in stylish a little bit. But I know you like really like Olivia and everything. I'm not sure. Should I do you think he should go in stylish?
If you put in stylish, I feel like Olivia should be too, but I mean, it's up to you.
I'm trying to think. Either I really like Koops too. I'll put you know what? I'll put him between Huey
Yeah, they can
and
be next to each other.
yeah.
I
But
think they're both really essential parts of the story. I think the fact that Bob-omb is such a big part of the story, despite only being there temporarily, though, like, kind of just, that's really impressive.
yeah. But moving on, we have we'll do these two together since you only have them for like a really short period of time.
I was like, why are these two here?
Yeah.
When I saw this tier list, but then I'm like, oh yeah, they're with you for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and they do have abilities in battle, but like some people won't even experience that. So
Oh, I didn't even realize they were in battles.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm thinking like I don't know, like I'm gonna put like
I mean, I
like-
like them better than Kersti, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
I want to quite put them in the underwear because at least they have like at least their little like story bit is kind of funny. But honestly, I'm just gonna put them in peril because basically do nothing. Like, it's like you have them for like a couple seconds. Like, why even bother at that point? But yeah. So moving on, we have Professor Toad, and I think he's another great character. I would say he's the only one to have like an overworld ability, so he actually kind of feels like a partner from 64 and Thousand Year Door, and his design is also like a little better than some of the other characters in the game. I like how he has kind of like an explorer outfit, kind of like Colorado, and even a little bit Goombella to a degree. So I think his personality is kind of like a mixture of like Colorado and Frankly, since he has like some like fun elements to him, but he's also kind of like, actually, you know what? I would say Colorado, Frankly, and Pennington. I would say he's kind of like a mixture of those three characters, personality wise. And I think it's just pretty cool, like his story overall of like searching for like I like how they call Captain Teode Captain Teode. I think that's pretty cute. But I think he's a pretty fun partner. But yeah.
Yeah, I think gameplay wise, he does offer a little bit more than all the other partners in Origami King, so he does have that. I think personality wise, he doesn't really stand out to me personally, but I do like that we were able to at least get a Toad that isn't, just a generic Toad.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have much else to say about him.
Yeah, I think I'll put him in nice. Maybe a little below Flurrie, but yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that he makes him a little more comparable to the older partners makes him like you kind of compare him to them a little more. Like, since you can't control him in battle, I think he's automatically gonna be like a little like less useful. So, but I think like he's definitely pretty fun overall. But yeah, moving on, we have Kamek. And with the last three, they're existing characters, but I feel like it would be fair to judge them as partners rather than their existing characters, because if this was Kamek, the character in general, it would definitely be pretty biased, because I really like Kamek, but as a partner, I would say he's pretty good. Like, he's useful, and his story in Chapter 5 is pretty fun overall, since you have to, like, kind of recover Bowser Jr. and everything.
Oh yeah, he's in a iconic character like outside the series for sure, but yeah, he's definitely useful in battles and such. He definitely gives you a bit of an edge, and his weird caring attitude for Bowser Jr. was something that I kind of liked, but also found to be a little bit weird. But I think that's just what a dynamic is supposed to be. So I wasn't opposed to him being in the game, I guess.
Yeah, I'll put him in nice. If it was Kamek like overall, like if this would be like a different tier list entirely, he would be higher. But like as a partner, I think he's nice. I would say Bowser Jr., while I love him as a character, he's barely a partner. He's kind of like Spike in Bone Goomba. But since he is Bowser Jr., I'm definitely gonna put him higher. But you barely really have him like as like a playable partner and everything.
Yeah, there's not much I really have to say about Bowser Jr. He kind of just serves as like a plot device to give you like more things to do in that chapter in particular. The entire like a good majority of that chapter is literally just trying to recolor him and recover him. So, he's a great character by himself, but in the context of Origami King, I don't think he's anything too special.
Yeah, I'll put him in okay, since like you really don't have him in battle for that long. Like you only have him for like a little area. And when I first played Origami King, I didn't even use him in battle at all. Like I just skipped that area entirely where you're able to use Bowser Jr. in battle, because he actually has a couple moves. But yeah. But moving on, we finally have Bowser. And even though he's like an existing character and everything, I thought he was pretty good. Like I like how he's I think it's funny how he's folded up like a wet floor sign, and he's definitely like his personality is definitely like almost as good as it is in like Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario. I wouldn't say he's exactly on that level, but he is still pretty fun. And he is like used in battle and can be pretty useful in the final area. I actually like how his like fire breath move is actually like stronger against ice enemies. That is actually a cool mechanic, and that's like one of the most Thousand Year Door 64-esque mechanics in Origami King. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it's weaker against fire bros too, which I thought was also like pretty cool. So yeah, and I like how I just think he's like pretty good overall.
I mean, it's Bowser, so you know, by definition, he is a great character. I did think it was kind of interesting how he was folded up into Origami for pretty much like 95% of the game. It is one thing the Paper Mario series isn't afraid of doing. It's not afraid of making Bowser look like a loser, and so
Yeah.
I really it's but you know, he was kind of enduring as that for most of the game, and to see him kind of like come back like at the end was, you know, really satisfying to see for me personally. I think in context of Origami King, you know, I kind of have the same feeling for Kamek, Bowser Jr. and Bowser. It's like I didn't find them to be particularly like really impactful in the game, but it was nice to have them. If we couldn't have like traditional partners, it was nice to have them at least tag along for a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'll put him kind of tied with Professor Toad, because I mean, like, Professor Toad is like pretty distinct since he's like a new character and everything. But you know what? I'll put him like maybe with maybe a little above Kamek, I would say, since he is like an existing character and everything, but was a little more memorable. So yeah, so that's our tier list. I think that's pretty good. We have a lot in nice, which kind of makes sense since like a lot of partners we like, but aren't like too high up there. But yeah, you know what?
No, I like this list. It looks
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, I
The
think
only thing I would argue is Olivia, but I think that's a good compromise for us. So.
yeah. But yeah, so anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to subscribe to Riders DX. It was nice having you on here.
Oh no, like I said, thank you for giving me a reason to not just wait and wait
Yeah.
and wait. You know, I'm really jealous of whoever's watching this video because you all live in a timeline where Paper Mario 1000 Year Door on the Switch is out. So, you know what? Screw you all.
But yeah, make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Stay perky!